Welcome back. Internal parasites can impact performance, production, and profit and loss. Overall, they can be a significant burden on any operation. So what can cattlemen do to reduce parasites and improve performance? Reporter Brian Baxter visits the Star Lake Cattle Ranch in Skiatook, Oklahoma to see how they're protecting their livestock from parasites.
Parasite control is one of the major issues that you want to stay on top of in a beef cattle operation.
Regardless of what part of the country you're in, as cattle graze, they're going to pick up a few parasites, and over time then that may become a pretty significant parasite burden.
Star Lake Cattle Ranch in Skiatook, Oklahoma is one operation that can't afford to have a parasite problem.
We solely raise registered Hereford cattle for the commercial and the purebred segment. We feel like we're a seed stock producer of superior Hereford genetics. We do like to show cattle at times, and we've had champion carload in Denver for the last 11 consecutive years, which is a record for our breed, and maybe even the stock show, as well as numerous national champions and so on over the past 30 years.
There's around 1,000 head or close to that here. This is a great part of the country to raise cattle in.
I think probably it's one of the greatest grass regions that we live in right here, and it's one of the most native and just purest grasses that I've ever come across in my life, and I've had the fortune to travel this country a lot, and this is all native grass, and it's just a great place to watch cattle develop.
Although picturesque, that pure, lush grass creates the perfect environment for parasites to develop.
They're more of an issue during the wetter seasons of the year, and of course they coincide. When you got lots of grass and it's growing and it's green, you have more parasites, because that's the great time of year for them to go from an egg in the fecal pat to an infective larvae up on the grass. So it's ideal for them, it's ideal for the cattle, so they tend to go with, the transmission tends to go when we have green grass and lots of it.
A herd-level parasite infestation can potentially cause significant performance loss on an operation. This may be difficult for the producer to perceive or see as a clinical issue, but it can ultimately lead to a substantial profit loss.
Usually it's decreased weight gain. If it's severe enough, we may see effects on hair coat, weight loss, those sorts of things. But much of parasitism is actually subclinical. It's basically performance loss. And one of the parasites in particular is really good at interfering with intake. Now, there's a feedback mechanism in the body for some reason that will allow that particular parasite, Ostertagia, to reduce intake. Cattle don't eat, they don't gain. We use parasite control as a means of increasing profitability.
Soles gives credit to a Beringer Ingelheim Vet Medica Incorporated product called Sidectin Poron for his good herd health. He says it's been instrumental in keeping internal parasites under control on his operation.
We do a fall and a spring worming program. Sidectin has been a very good product for us. The first time that we ever used it was like 10 or 12 years ago when it first came on the market, and it was really quite affordable, and we had a security because of the companies that were behind it. And as a result, we started to use it and continue to use it in our rotational worming program.
There hasn't ever been a change in the way it comes to you and the way it goes on or the way it goes into an animal. So, that's a very large part of being comfortable with the Sidectin product.
Sidectin has a number of benefits. Number one, it can be applied in rainy conditions. It's an oil-based product, a lipid-based product, so we know that it's rain fast. If it's applied, it's going to stay on the animals. It distributes nicely when it's applied shoulder to tail head, and it does a good job in staying on the animal. It has a purple dye in it. Many producers like that because they can tell what animals they've treated. If you happen to slip one through the chute, goes out there in the bunch, you can go pick it up and bring it back and deworm that animal. With some of the products, you'd have a hard time being able to do that. It has a zero slaughter withdrawal. It has a zero milk withhold for people who are in the dairy business. So it has a number of very nice features.
Dr. Mac Devon instructs producers to follow the directions closely. The way the product is administered directly reflects how effective it will be.
The directions say administer it from shoulder to tail head, and that's particularly important in fall because we're trying to target lice. And we want to keep those products spread out. Lice don't just stay in one spot, so we don't want to put all that product in one spot. If we put it on the side of the animal, now we don't get distribution on the other side. So right down the midline between shoulder and tail head, with as equal a distribution as you can make, is the appropriate way to apply Poron products like Sidectin Poron.
Different areas of the country have different parasites to combat. For this reason, Sidectin is available in multiple forms, which allows producers to choose what works best for them.
We have pour-on products, we have injectable products, we have oral products. And a lot depends on what parasite classes you're going after. In the fall, particularly in northern climates, we're going after external parasites like lice as well, and in some cases mites. And so the pour-on products tend to work better if you're going after both gastrointestinal and external parasites. The injectable products, if we're in the spring and what we're mostly after is gastrointestinal parasites, then the injectables may be a better choice, or one of the drench with dewormers.
Success in keeping operations parasite-free means everyone in the area must work together for a common goal.
If one operation is doing it and all the surroundings are not, you're never going to get ahead of it. And as long as everyone's on the same page and getting their cattle dewormed, I think the problem will be probably not eliminated, but it's definitely going to be decreased.
Accurate dosing is also very important when using a deworming product like Sidectin. Not giving your herd enough can lead to resistance problems.
But resistance develops as those parasites are exposed multiple times to that drug while they're in the host. It's important to dose accurately to the weight of the animal. Don't underdose, because as we underexpose those parasites to a particular drug concentration in the animal, if we're low dosing all the time, we're going to select for more resistance. And that's well documented. Dose accurately. One thing you can do is you can dose to the heaviest animal in the production group. So if you've got a set of replacement heifers, you dose to the heaviest heifer. That'll keep you from underdosing. If we dose to the average, we're going to underdose half of the cattle, right? So it's important to try to dose to that heaviest animal.
Before deciding to implement a deworming program, producers should first talk with their local veterinarian.
Knowing the worms, knowing their life cycles, knowing what times of the year they predominate, that's kind of the field of the veterinarian, and so it's important to have some consultation and work with people like Beringer that have qualified professionals in the field to assist with those decisions. Get some good advice and choose products that work well, like Sidectin pour-on.
Reporting from Star Lake Cattle Ranch in Skiatook, Oklahoma, I'm Brian Baxter for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
For more details on the benefits of a good deworming program, or to learn more about Beringer Ingelheim Vet Medica and their line of products including Sidectin pour-on, log on to cattlemantocattleman.org.